It happened just moments ago, the kind of breaking news that leaves the nation reeling. Boeing, the crown jewel of American aerospace, is shutting down key U.S. production lines. The headlines are hitting like a freight train, but what's happening behind the scenes is even more explosive. Donald Trump, once Boeing's loudest cheerleader, is now in total meltdown mode. He's shouting behind closed doors, demanding answers, and pointing fingers. Why? Because this shutdown isn't just an economic blow, it's a political earthquake. And Trump knows it. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and hit that bell so you never miss a moment when the truth breaks wide open. Boeing wasn't just another corporation. It was a symbol, a titan of American strength, innovation, and dominance. For decades, Boeing stood tall as the world's largest aerospace company, supplying everything from commercial jets to military aircraft. But today, factory lights are dimming. Workers are being sent home. Production lines in Washington and South Carolina are grinding to a halt. This isn't just a pause. It's a full-scale shutdown of U.S. operations, and the consequences will ripple through every corner of the economy. Sources close to Boeing say this move wasn't just about profits, it was about pressure. Global uncertainty, declining orders, regulatory nightmares, and perhaps most damning of all, rising political interference. And that's where Trump comes crashing into the picture. Trump's obsession with loyalty. Insiders say that Trump, throughout his presidency and even after, has had one clear demand of corporate America: loyalty. Not loyalty to the economy. Not loyalty to workers. But loyalty to him. According to sources who were present during one of his recent outbursts at Mar-a-Lago, Trump was seen pacing back and forth, yelling that Boeing stabbed him in the back. He reportedly accused the company of falling in line with the globalists and turning their backs on American greatness. But here's the twist: Boeing's move had nothing to do with a personal betrayal. It had everything to do with survival. Orders from China have vanished. European partners are hesitating. And with tariffs, trade wars, and rising operational costs, Boeing found itself between a rock and a hard place. Shutting down U.S. production wasn't a decision made out of spite. It was a desperate act of self-preservation. China walks away, the breaking point. What tipped the scale? Sources point to a critical moment just days ago. China, one of Boeing's largest international customers, canceled a series of long-expected jet orders. Billions in revenue disappeared in an instant. According to leaked memos, Boeing executives had been trying to keep the Chinese orders alive for months. But political pressure from Washington made it nearly impossible. In fact, reports suggest that behind closed doors, Trump's allies had been pushing Boeing to reject any deal that gave China leverage, even if it meant massive losses. "We're not letting them own us," one aide reportedly told Boeing reps, but that hardline stance came with a cost. And now the price is being paid in factory shutdowns, job losses, and public outrage. Entire supply chains are freezing. Local economies that depend on Boeing's contracts are grinding to a halt. Mayors, governors, and labor unions are demanding answers, but the silence from Washington is deafening. The Midwest goes silent. You can feel it on the ground. Across states like Missouri, Kansas, and Indiana, where Boeing suppliers and subcontractors operate, factories are quiet. Machines are idle. Towns that once depended on Boeing contracts are staring at economic ruin. Main streets are emptying out, and local diners that once served packed lunch crowds are struggling to stay open. Union reps have gone on record saying they've received no warning, no support, no plan. "We're being left behind," one worker in Wichita said. "They told us Boeing was too big to fail. But now we're the ones paying the price." The sense of betrayal is growing. And so is the blame. Communities feel abandoned, and many are pointing fingers at both corporate leaders and politicians who promised stability but delivered silence. Trump's reaction: rage and denial. As soon as the news hit the airwaves, Trump reportedly went ballistic. According to White House insiders, he began making frantic calls to Boeing executives and former staffers still loyal to him. He wanted answers. He wanted someone to blame. And most of all, he wanted control. He said this made him look weak, one aide revealed. He couldn't stand the optics of losing Boeing during an election year. He feared it would be seen as a personal failure, not just a business decision. But optics aren't the only problem. Trump's meltdown is fueled by fear. Fear that this moment, this shutdown, could be the symbol of a broader unraveling. That maybe, just maybe, his America First legacy is collapsing under the weight of its own contradictions, bad deals, and burnt bridges. Even longtime allies are reportedly distancing themselves, worried that the fallout could reach them too. The political firestorm. Democrats were quick to pounce. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer called the shutdown the inevitable result of failed leadership and toxic politics. Progressive voices on social media blamed Trump's years of erratic policy, trade wars, and corporate bullying. Even some Republicans, often silent in the face of Trump's outbursts, are now breaking ranks. "We need stability, not tantrums," one GOP senator said anonymously. "This is about jobs. This is about national security. We can't afford to lose Boeing." The issue has reignited debates on industrial policy, trade strategy, and presidential overreach. Several lawmakers are now calling for emergency hearings and federal intervention, warning that if Boeing falls, it won't just hurt blue states or red states, it will ripple through the entire U.S. economy. Is this just the beginning? Some analysts believe this shutdown is just the first domino to fall. Boeing's collapse could set off a chain reaction across the defense industry, commercial aviation, and beyond. Companies that rely on Boeing for parts, maintenance, and contracts may be next. And with confidence in U.S. manufacturing shaken, foreign competitors are ready to pounce. Airbus is already ramping up production. China's Comac is eyeing international markets. Embraer, Brazil's aerospace giant, is also expanding its footprint. Meanwhile, suppliers across Europe and Asia are stepping in to fill the void. The US may soon find itself falling behind in an industry it once dominated, not because of lack of innovation, but because of leadership failures. The bigger picture, politics versus pragmatism. This crisis isn't just about one company. It's about the dangerous collision of politics and industry. Boeing didn't shut down US production because it wanted to, it did so because the system gave it no other choice. Political volatility, supply chain instability, foreign policy missteps, it all piled up. Trump's insistence on absolute loyalty, even at the cost of smart business decisions, created a climate where companies had to choose between survival and political favor. And Boeing chose survival. This wasn't a sudden decision, it was years in the making. The warning signs were there, but they were ignored. Now, the fallout is a wake-up call for every U.S. corporation trying to navigate partisan chaos while staying globally competitive. A warning for the nation. This moment should be a wake-up call. If Boeing can fall, anyone can. If America's industrial giant can be brought to its knees by ego-driven politics, what hope is there for the small business owner in Ohio? Or the factory worker in Michigan? Or the young engineer fresh out of college hoping for a future in aerospace? Even the suppliers who build the smallest components, bolts, wires, panels, now face uncertain futures. Trump's meltdown isn't just a personal reaction, it's a symptom of a broken system. One where leaders put image above outcome, and where the cost of loyalty is measured in jobs lost, dreams deferred, and futures shattered. The ripple effects of this moment could haunt American industry for generations if real change doesn't follow. This isn't just Boeing's crisis, it's America's reckoning. Boeing may come back. It may restructure, reorganize, or even reopen certain production lines overseas. But the damage has been done. Trust is broken. Stability is gone. Global investors are spooked, and longtime allies are quietly reconsidering their contracts. The ripple effect won't be short-lived, it will echo through the economy, through communities, and through generations of workers. And Trump? He's left shouting into the void, blaming everyone but himself. As usual, the responsibility is shifted while the consequences are shouldered by everyday Americans. What America needs now isn't more meltdowns, it's leadership that understands that strength comes not from control, but from collaboration. That loyalty should be earned, not demanded. And that the economy, like democracy, only thrives when we put people over politics. Only then can we begin to rebuild what's been lost, not just in steel and labor, but in faith. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on that bell so you're the first to know when more truth gets uncovered. Stay sharp, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one.